When I met him, I didn't even have no clue about fishing. And our first date was fishing. He took me fishing. And I caught them. See that crap in a bubble? Took me in Lake Decatur. I thought it was at a river. In a pond. It was a river coming in Lake Decatur. I was catching crappie that size, believe it or not. And then I got hooked into fishing. Then he used to fish, I got married, he used to fish bass tournaments. He couldn't find fishing tackle to go fishing. We had a little bait shop in Decatur, and he would go and say, David, when you put your orders in, would you order me 10 of this, 10 of that, 10 of that? Here's the money ahead of time, but he wouldn't order it for him. He would order the stuff, but he didn't know what to buy, and he would sell it to his customers, and he wouldn't call them to. So he was a truck driver, so he kept saying, one of these days, I'm going to open a shop. I'll have all I want. That's exactly what happened. Opened a store, and I told him his bass fishing go by the back door. And that's what happened to his bass tournament fishing. And that's how we got started. And here I am 48 years later, still running it.
Retro bassin', kicking some ass and wearing rayon jackets. Thinking about Bill Dance, watching these fish prance through my Ray-Ban glasses. Ain't nothing better than 40-year-old lures coming off of Zepco 33. Out on the bass boat, making beer cans float, doing some trespassing. Fishing it old school, this old stuff rules. Welcome to Retro Bassin'.
Welcome to Retro Bassin', and welcome to a tackle tour that has literally been years in the making. I'm standing outside of Mike's Tackle World in Decatur, Illinois, a bucket list tackle shop for me ever since I saw a great walkthrough about 5 years ago now from BAITMANTV. It was actually one of the first YouTubers I started interacting with back when I first started Retro Bassin', and that was one of the first tackle shop walkthroughs that I'd ever seen. It was honestly a video that I've watched so many times I can't even tell you, and I was blown away that tackle shops like that still existed. Since then, we've actually done a lot of tackle shop walkthroughs here on the channel, and honestly, I've got BAITMANTV to thank for that. That episode really kind of inspired me to seek out local tackle shops whenever and wherever possible. And always on my list was Mike's. Well, a few years ago, I was at my first ever NFLCC national meeting in Springfield, Illinois, and I drove on down to Decatur to film Mike's. I came in, met with Joanne, and probably filmed about 3 hours of content here for the channel. Also bought a bunch of lures, took them home with me. Well, when I got home, I discovered that all of the footage was unusable because my microphone was not working. And I literally lost probably one of the most epic tackle shop walkthroughs ever. Well, that was in 2022. Fast forward a few years later, I happened to be over in Indianapolis, and yeah, you better believe I made a special trip to Mike's. So we're gonna step inside, we're gonna meet with Joanne, talk a little bit about the history of this classic, iconic tackle shop, and we're gonna go through the many, many rows and pegboard walls of old school gold that they've got inside. I did take a quick walkthrough, and thankfully, a lot of the things that I saw and didn't pick up are still here available at Mike's. Now, I can't say how many I'm gonna be walking out with. However, I'm gonna do my best to do a walkthrough of this shop. I know Baitman did a really good walkthrough. Some stuff probably has changed, and obviously I've got a little bit of a flair toward the old school. So stick around. This is gonna be, it ain't gonna be a quick one, but it's gonna be a good one. Trust me. Well, I figured it would be appropriate to start this tackle walkthrough in front of a very epic wall of old school bomber crankbaits. I've actually been in Mike's for about 60 minutes, maybe an hour and a half so far, and I haven't started filming. Try and get the lay of the land to see what items you guys might want to see. If I filmed everything in this shop, this would literally be a 5-hour video, and I'm not exaggerating. So, because this is the Retro Bassin channel, I'm going to try to stick to the old school-ish type stuff and different lures that catch my eye. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the SLR camera around. We're going to go aisle by aisle here through Mike's, take a look at some old school gold that is still in the peg and still available for sale at some, honestly, pretty crazy prices. All right, even though this isn't the first aisle here at Mike's, this is where I'll start since I kind of teased you guys with the intro. Just a ton of classic bomber A's, mostly 7A's and 6A's, but also some smaller ones I will show you. So here, gotta love this, the OG bomber, classic packaging. This is the 1/2 ounce 7A in a chartreuse pattern with that herringbone. I forget what that's called, but check out the price on that, $4.59. There's the back of it. This is Pradco, but this is old school Pradco. So what I love about these old bomber A's are some of the colors that you just don't see anymore. Look at this one, sort of the silver shad. Ooh, that metallic in there. And the fact that you can still get these for $4.59, this is absolutely insane. What other colors do we have here? Nice striper. Oh, this is always one of my favorites here. Look at that guy. And then moving on down, got the chrome mackerel. And most likely my favorite color, and I don't know how many of these I'm going to leave on the peg, Bass and Buds, to be honest with you. The G Finish Fire Tiger in a 7A. That is just pure 90s nostalgia for me right there. Oh my goodness. Like, I feel like I could throw that, and I honestly, even if the conditions weren't right, feel like I'm going to catch a bass, just because it's just such a... That is some plastic nostalgia right there. So that is awesome. So what other colors and sizes do they have? So we've got some shallow divers here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Some more shallow divers. And a metallic. Ooh, we got the teeny one. What is this? This is a 1/3 of an ounce. Or is that... Or no, 1/5 of an ounce, sorry. And the old crappie. That's a tasty looking little crankbait. I actually might snag one of those. Ooh, another one. 1/5 of an ounce. Little guy. And what else do we have here? So just an insane amount of OG bombers. I'm going to try to get as many different colors as I can to show you. There's another crappie. What is this color? Ooh. Oh, there we go. Check out that guy. There's an OG color for sure. It's like an orange fire tiger. I don't even know if I know the name of that color. Huh. What is this one called? Assembled in Mexico. So that is it. Again, for the vast majority of these look like they're 7As. And then here are some 6As over here. And there's that G-Finish Fire Tiger again. Probably going to be walking with more than a few of those. Ooh. The old smallmouth color. And this is a color that I don't think they make anymore. So this is, of course, the 1/4 ounce 6A. Also for $4.59. It's like a third of what you get those on eBay for. Ooh, there's a nice shad pattern. Baby bass. Get that chartreuse. What do we have up here? Looks like another green crappie color. Just insane. So yeah, so that is all the bombers. I could spend all day looking at these bombers, literally. And Michelle was telling me that there's also a box of 7As, which I'll show you as well. Moving on, before we get out of this aisle, so here are some new in the package bombers. What do we have here? Oh, that's new. Or not new, but new to me. So this is the shallow A. Oh, the discontinued shallow A. Okay. Especially for those looking for a baby 1-. Man, this might be a nice little substitute. So it looks like for $4.79, you can get a shallow A in either Fire Tiger. Got the old blue mackerel there. Ooh. Really cool. And what else? We got some newer ones as well. But I, of course, love that. In fact, probably what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to walk with some of this stuff. I'm going to put a few reminders down for myself so that I don't just forget, because I feel like every episode I ever do, I leave about half the things I want on the peg, and of course, you guys scoop them up, as you should. Moving on into this corner here. What I love about Mike's is, look at this. Every little nook and cranny, there is just no wasted space. There's lures just all the way to the point where you can't even get to them. So a bunch of Strike King diamond shads. Not a bait I've thrown a ton, actually, but there we go. A very young, young-looking KVD on the package there. And that is the Strike King Diamond Shad for $4.39. Just a boatload of colors and sizes. You guys are going to have to come look at those. And then moving over here, I did want to show you this. So there's a wall of rattle traps, mostly in the new packaging, but there are still some OG package rattle traps. I just love this. Again, this is just for me, pure 90s nostalgia. And that one is for $5.29. Looks like the 1/4 ounce. Got that in a couple of different colors. Looks like a crappie color there. And I think they have some bigger ones as well. Let's see. So there's a nice Tennessee shad. Bleeding shads. Looks like a lot of the OG package ones are smaller. Yeah, except for there's a few big ones. Look at that guy. The old bleeding shad. And then they also have some models of rattle trap that I don't know that they make anymore. So this one is semi-OG. It's in that package. So this is the high def trap. That's for $6.39. It's actually a good looking trap. Kind of before they went to this new packaging, which again, I kind of long for the old school stuff. But I don't know if that's the one I just showed you. High def trap. There's another high def trap. And I think these guys were a little bit more of a premium line. Ooh, I like that color a lot. Okay, so I'll zoom out. I'm not going to go through all this stuff in this aisle, but Rapalas, as far as the eye can see, I think most of these are not necessarily OG, but just look at all this Rapalas. And then over here, we've got some Berkeleys, and more bombers. Oh, okay. I do spy something a little bit OG here. So nice Heddon Hellbender, the old striper size, the Magnum, in the classic and now discontinued Heddon packaging. Here's one, a nice striper pattern. That's pretty cool. And looks like those guys are $6.59 for the Hellbenders. So again, I know I'm skipping over a ton of stuff, guys. I'm sorry, I just don't have the time. But if you want to look through this, just nothing but bombers here all the way to the end of this row, pretty much. Okay, so sneaking around the corner at the end of the Rapalas, you make a turn, giant wall of storms. Just about every storm you would want, not just the wigglewort, but thunderstick juniors, thundersticks, Hottentots, thin fins, you name it. Whole bunch of storms right there. Moving on down, a bunch of Bagleys, Rick Cluns, and then we're gonna get into this aisle, which is crazy. So we'll just go to the back and kind of work our way out. This is nuts. So first off, over here, all Heddon Tadpollys. Not a bait that I have fished a ton, but one that I'm probably going to pick up a few and do a little more tadpoly fishing. And by the way, if you have fish with this, let me know. But this is the Clatter Tadpolly. It rattles, and it's sort of in a orange coach dog pattern for $4.99. Clearly some, I would say like lake trout, walleye pattern there. There's another one, same deal. Fluorescent with some spots. Here we've got a chrome green with a red bill. So, you know, you could totally cast that. That'd be a little caster. I'd throw that. And for $4.99, I'll definitely pick up a few of those at least for the old tackle wall. Huh, I kind of like this one, the all green, sort of a chrome green pattern. Nice looking little rattle. Oh, and it looks like one did fall out of the package. Oh, yeah, I'll get to the big O's. But there you go. So that's a good looking little crankbait for sure. You could say it does have the snap on there, so yeah, that might be a trolling bait, but I'd totally cast that. So giant wall of tadpollies, just about every color you would want in that, I guess, main size. Moving on, see some Cordells. Up top, it looks like some big O's. Ooh. And what size is this? I always kind of mess up on my big O sizes. But this is the small one. I think the size they still have today. But $5.39. Most of these look like some variation of chrome, which is pretty cool. Moving on to these big O's, though. Ooh. Now, that is a size they don't actually sell anymore, or not too often. So this is C7813. And look at that guy. $5.39. What a deal for that. Nice OG packaging. I've got it in chrome with a blue back. They've got that guy. Ooh, a perch. I like him a lot. And, oh yeah, classic Fire Tiger. I love the old school matte Fire Tiger. I'm going to put this on the ground. Definitely come back and scoop up a few of that guy. But a ton of those still on the peg. I mean, how many? I probably should start doing some estimates, but I would say maybe 100 big O's on the peg right there. Now, in between the tadpollies and the big O's is a bait that I actually came specifically for, the Cordell Wiggle O. This is their version of a storm wigglewort, but I actually kind of like this better sometimes. So this is the smaller version of that bait. Actually, one I don't throw a ton, the baby Wiggle O, in a nice crawfish, clear crawfish pattern for $4.99. Oh, check that out on eBay and see what that goes for. It doesn't go for $4.99 on the eBay. And there we've got it in a chrome with a blue splatter back, same deal. And what else? Ooh, look at that. Baby Wiggle O in a Fire Tiger. So yeah, I don't know how long the Wiggle O was out. It definitely was in that sort of bean-shaped wigglewort style. But it's a good-looking little bait. Fish is great. I've caught a ton of fish on this thing. And for $5, not too bad of a deal. And then, oh, there's one popping out of the package. But I'm going to grab him anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then we've got some more of these guys down the bottom. So mostly babies, a few big ones, which I've grabbed, and I'll show you that. Okay, so we're just down the peg from the Big O's. We got some Berkeleys, we got some Nomads, but here we go. Check it out. Some OG Rebels. So we've got some Crank R's, which are nice for $4.99. Boatload of those, boatload of colors. But check this out. Ooh, a little deep We Are action there. $4.99 for that one. That's actually kind of a cool color. And this looks like, what We Are is this? Teeny We Are. Oh, so the deep teeny We Are. Actually, I don't even have one of those. I mean, I will after today. That's a nice looking little crankbait. $5.99. Ooh, one of the expensive ones. And a bunch more of the Crank R's. Looks like some We R's over here in some different colors. Let's see the colors of the We Are. So, got that guy. I'm just not even going to try to name him at this point. Chartreuse. Yeah, sort of a bandit color there. And, that guy. Do we have any more all the way down the bottom worth looking at? Oh, there we go. So there's another deep We Are. So that's pretty cool. That's actually a heck of a deal for a nice OG bait. $4.99. And then right above that, I actually spy the shallow diving version of the same bait. Also for $4.99. Nice. And yeah, I'll probably put a few of those down to remind myself to come back to this section. All right, moving on. We got some Rebels here, some crawls, nothing OG. But then I do see some crankbaits here that, oh man. Well, a ton of Luhr Jensen brush babies. Actually, a crankbait that definitely has a cult following. Got the deep one here. So that is the old brush baby. 1/4 ounce Fire Tiger for $4.59. Crazy. And then, what do we have here? The old Hot Lips Expressed. So that's a 1/2 ounce Hot Lips for $4.59. So pretty much every crankbait here at Mike's is under $6, which is just nuts. Oh, look at this. A couple Warden's Pose. Is this a Deadeye? Super Cedar 200. So I don't know if that's the Deadeye or not, but $7.99 for that guy. And looks like there's a few of those on the peg here in that color and that color. Ooh, nice. Well, I am not going to take those. I'll leave those for you guys. A bunch of Bagleys here. I don't think anything too old, but a ton of Bagleys. I mean, just insane. And then over here, an insane wall of Bandits. Again, looks like mostly new stuff, so I'll skip ahead on that. I do see some OG Smithwick Rattlin' Rogues here. It's even got the old school Devil's Horse icon there. The Rattlin' Rogue series. It's got old Jack Smithwick in the back. And $5.99 for that guy. It looks like the vast majority of these are in the old school Fire Tiger. It is a Pradco brand, but it also has a copyright of 1992. So, not a new bait there. But just a bunch of those guys for your shopping pleasure. Before we get out of the crankbait area, see some normies here. A lot of new ones, but check this out. Got some OG Gamakatsu Normans. Looks like that's a little version of the Big N. And look at the back. This might be pre-Pradco Norman here. So we got some of these, the old Professional Edge line. Always love the normie colors. So looks like a bunch of these guys, shallow divers, $4.69. They actually have some pretty cool colors. Ooh, look at that. So, yeah, it does not say Pradco on the back, so I'm assuming these are all OG Normans here. Well, actually, there you go. So it says Greenwood, Arkansas. So, yeah, that's a pre-Pradco for sure. Good looking color, though. And you wouldn't even have to swap out the hooks on those guys. So it looks like there's a bunch of them, mostly shallow divers. I also do see some 22s. What is this? The old Suspend 4+. Huh. $3.99. Look at that guy. That's a nice color. So just sort of a smattering of some different Normans all up in here. Okay, so we're going to round the corner here. We're going to come back to the discount bin at some point. But we just rounded the corner. And everywhere you turn, there's just more and more. So I'm going to mosey on down till something old catches my eye, which is usually not too far here at Mike's. But this looks like the frog section. So just a bunch of frogs into spinnerbaits. So I don't see any Doug Hannon frogs in here, but I do see, oh, what is this? OG buzzbait, the old hog collar. I've actually got a few hog collar spinnerbaits. I don't have any buzzbaits. Yep, there we go. Old Bill Morgan. And what year is this guy? I don't know. This is not a new one, I can tell you that. But $4.99 for the old hog collar. And looks like, that's what I love about Mike's. They've got these little nooks and crannies that's just kind of jammed with old school gold. So there you go. A bunch of these 1/4 ounce hog collar spinnerbaits. I'm sorry, buzzbaits. And I'm sure they probably have some hog collar spinnerbaits somewhere as well. Here we go. Oh, looks like some OG snag proof frogs. Old packaging there. And some different stuff. So got a bunch of booyahs here. This is a section, and lighting's not the best right here, but you guys have to see this. So first off, oh, look at that. Is that the craziest thing ever? That is a Heddon vamp of some sort, a vamp spook, I think. A 3-hook model. I don't know if this is an anniversary model. Let's get in the light and see what it says here. Copyright 2002. And it looks like this is a vamp spook of some sort. Must be some sort of reissue, which is pretty cool. For $6.99. And if you're a Heddon guy, you probably want to grab a couple of those just because. That's super cool. Next to that, they've got some OG Lucky 13s. Again, I'll get in the light to show you. This one in a pretty cool pattern. Nice old school mackerel pattern, Lucky 13. And that guy is also $5.59, actually, a little bit cheaper on that. So just a ton of old school Heddons right there, which is awesome. Next to some old school creek chubs, actually. And we got some old striper swipers, always one of my favorite topwater for the rivers. This is definitely an oldie. $5.99 for that guy. And they've got some different striper swipers as well. Moving on down here, new Smithwick packaging. Here's the OG Smithwick packaging. And ooh, look at that, nice devil's horse. Nice chartreuse, $4.39 for him. That's the small devil's horse. And then there, of course, is the larger model. And a fire tiger. Oh, that's great. There's a new one in a chickapin perch color, I think, or brim. That's still pretty cool. So that is it for the Smithwicks. Just a couple of the OG ones, kind of sprinkled in with the newer models. Moving over to Arbogast. I had to look at this twice. This is pretty wild. So this is, try not to drop too much here. This is a big hula popper frog pattern, $6.99 for that. And this one is circa 2003. So that's just like a 20-year-old bait hanging on the peg there. in a bunch of different colors. Classic bullfrog pattern as well. And they've got some jitterbugs sprinkled in here. So we got hula poppers, jitterbugs, all that cool stuff. A couple things caught my eye. First off, some discontinued colors of jitterbug. Oh, look at that chartreuse. You don't see that too often. $6.99 for that guy. A couple of those on the peg. But then I had to look through the dustiness of the package. First time I passed by to notice what this was. Yeah, that is a weedless jitterbug. Oh man, I've actually been trying to find more of these to fish with. And that is a small version of it, weedless jitterbug. Looks like that is the 3/8 ounce frog pattern for $6.99. And they've got weedless there. Check this out, a weedless in the old yellow. Ooh, another weedless with a frog pattern with the yellow belly. Weedless in the black. All for $6.99. So these are a little bit more expensive, but again, a bait that you just, whoa, almost killed myself there. Bait that you don't see too often. Weedless and a fire tiger. And then here's the big version of the weedless. Look at that. So this one must be, is this the 1/2 ounce? Might be. And that one is also for $6.99, but look at the amazing, I keep dropping this stuff. Joanne's gonna kill me. Look at the amazing packaging on that. Just look at how many years has it been hanging on the wall to get that nice patina on it. Love it. So I'm gonna grab a few of these for sure. I'll probably leave a few on the peg for you guys. And then I'll move on to the Heddons. Ooh, I like that guy. A nice OG packaging of a Heddon baby torpedo. Tiny torpedo, I'm sorry. And a G finish with a red head. That's a good color. They've got some other ones as well. G Fleck. G finish, or is that just a natural? That's not natural. That's just a natural one, sorry. They got a Heddon Lucky 13. That's a discontinued bait, I think. That size, or at least that color. And a bunch of just, oh, look at all this cool Heddon stuff. Moss balls, awesome. We got some bigger torpedoes. We got, what is this? Zara Spook, Swayback Spook. Ooh, ooh, you don't see those every day. More Zaras here. Oh, the old Rebel Jumpin' Minnow. That's actually, I love that bait too. That's a goodie. I used to have the Mark Sosin version of that guy. A few years ago, Heddon came back out with this, the old slope nose. They've since discontinued it, but you can get it here at Mike's for $9.99, which is actually used to be the price on the LureNet website when they had those. And they've got those slope nose in a couple different colors, including this nice frog pattern. Moving on, we'll try to wrap up this aisle as quickly as I can. I see some Rebels here, some Pop-Rs. Nice classic Rebel packaging. Ooh. The old Super Pop-R. Or is this the, oh no, it's the Chug-R, I'm sorry. Look at that guy, $4.69 for the Chug-R in a glorious color. There's another Chug-R in a sort of a translucent perch pattern. And another one in that really nice yellow, clear herringbone color, whatever that's called. Oh, there's another one. Fire Tiger. And that's what's so crazy is every little nook and cranny of this place, you just never know what you're gonna find. Classic Pop-R there, G finish. Ooh, look at that color. I remember that one. And then some bigger Pop-Rs too. So that about rounds it out for that section there with the pop bars. All right, so we're clearing the Rebels. I'm going around the bend, staying in spinnerbait territory, but look at this. A pretty big selection of Stan Sloan Zorro aggravator spinnerbaits, stamped OG, Sampo ball bearing swivel. Yeah, I didn't think I'd see the OG version on the peg anytime soon. So this is a 3/8 ounce, a really nice coleslaw pattern, $7.99, which is actually a great deal for these spinnerbaits. So that's the old aggravator. A couple different colors. Look at that color. Got a nice chartreuse and a white. Looks like most of these are willow leaf, double willow leaf, or willow leaf and a Colorado. Ooh, look at that guy, man. And even down to the single. So the single looks like that is $6.69. And they got a bunch of singles as well. Chartreuse, that's the 1/4 ounce. That's a good looking little bait. Yeah. So I don't know how many aggravators they have on there. Probably about 50 or so aggravators still on the peg. Coming back here, just a bunch of booyahs. Nothing too crazy. Let's see if we see anything of, ooh. Nice OG Lunker Lure. Look at that with the metallic on it. That's pretty sweet. So the original 1/2 ounce Lunker Lure, chartreuse, $4.49. So that's with the regular blade. Here's a painted chartreuse blade, 1/2 ounce, for $4.49. And then even the little guy, sort of a green and chartreuse color, 1/4 ounce for $4.49. So they've got some newer Lunker Lures, but that's pretty cool. They've got the OG version still up here and a pretty good selection of those guys. See if I can sneak out here. Ooh, they have Stanley wedges. That's crazy. Look at that. Old Lonnie Stanley wedge. The Wedge Plus. This is always my favorite spinnerbait growing up. 1/4 ounce. Nice sun perch pattern. I actually do know that one. Yeah, red perch. Sorry, I messed that up. Close enough. Then we've got one in a chartreuse. And then, ooh, what is this one? Ooh, look at that guy. So $7.69 for that wedge. Nice red crawl pattern. And I'm probably skipping over stuff. I apologize. If I don't speed up, I'll just never, ever get out of here. All right, well, I passed this the first time. We'll go ahead and hit this discount bin real quick before I keep moving on. So, yeah, lure special, by the way, before we get into this. $3.99 each. 3 for $11, 4 for $14, 5 for $17, or 6 for $20. And what kind of baits do they have in here? Well, discontinued Mann's baits. You got the old Mann Dancer. I think it's maybe more of a walleye bait. I haven't actually thrown that one before. Let me know if you have. A couple different sizes. That's a monster. So it looks like some sort of blade bait. Obviously a deep runner. We got a bunch of those guys. Also got some crankbaits in here. What do we have down here? Just a Bill Dance Cordell spot hanging out there in the discount bin. Waiting for a home. Another one. And another one. Well, if I can get 6 for $20, I might be snagging some of these guys. We'll see. But that is it. A whole bunch of stuff in the discount bin. Jigs, crankbaits, you name it. All right, I'm not going to go through it, but giant wall of Strike King crankbaits. I mean, I think Baitman spent some time here. You could literally spend all day just looking at these guys, but just a giant wall, probably the biggest wall of Strike Kings I've ever seen. You got to look at the corners of this place. Nooks and crannies. I was just wandering over here to get a sip of my soda, and I found a whole wall of these Rebel Ultralights. I'll get it out of the light so you can see it. So that is a ultralight bait, micro critter. That looks like the crawfish, $4.49. Or the crick hopper, I'm sorry. There's another crick hopper in chrome. So I'm not sure if these are just ultralight baits or if these are actually like fly rod baits. Let me know. But there's the micro crawfish. Just a single hook, $4.19. And honestly, probably about, I don't know, 60 of them up there hanging out. All right, so look at this. I almost missed this. I'm just hanging out, hiding on the bottom here. A whole section of about 30 or 40 Arbogast fly rod hula poppers. Look at that guy, a nice little black and white for $2.39. Coach dog. Ooh, frog pattern. And red and white. That is too cool, just hanging out there. All those are $2.39 for the old fly rod hula popper. I always like that one. I actually used to throw that for sunnies a little bit, but I have not been able to get them. Almost forgot about this section here. Just some OG plastics tucked away, all for $2.99. The Producto Lure, the lure the pros throw. Not in this color these days, that's for sure. So, nice old school crawfish. Big paddle tail worm. Big worms there. Ooh, nice strawberry colored worm. Oh, look at that. Sort of a black and copper flake. So a whole bunch of Producto worms right there. I think all of these are discount, either $2.99 or even $1.99. Okay, so there were the bombers. We're gonna go back the other way in the shop, check out some stuff. This is some more jigging type baits, but there's some stuff I think might be of interest. So, I noticed the old Fred Arbogast logo immediately, the old Dr. Spoon. I've never thrown a Dr. Spoon. I don't know if is that a trolling spoon? It looks kind of thin. Looks like that'd be a trolling spoon. It's got that single hook. Yeah, I'm guessing the Dr. Spoon is a trolling spoon. $3.69 for that, and $3.59 for the small one. So that's pretty cool. But what really caught my eye was this OG Mann's logo. And what is this? So this is a classic Mann Lure jigging bait. That's a nice little guy. I think that might be like a, I don't know, quarter ounce. A little silver bait for $2.69 at Mike's. Got a boatload of those, and then they've also got this one, which is pretty cool. The Crawl George, the crawfish version of the Mann's Little George. Oh, great looking little bait. And $2.89. Oh, man. Man, oh man. Mann's Bait Company, 604 State Docks Road, Eufaula, Alabama. Sorry to see it go. So just a ton of those baits. So we've got the Mann lures, we've got the Crawl George, and then of course we've got the classic Little George. So nice Little George here, $2.99. And so they've got all those in a variety of different colors. Looks like the Crawl Georges are mostly in a sort of a white with a little black on top. And looks like the Little Georges are mostly in a silver. But just a ton of Manns that you just can't find anymore. Moving on down, just so many baits, so many baits. Looks like some musky stuff down this way. We'll swing back around to see if there's anything that catches my eye. I'm sure there will be. I think there was last time I came through here. Oh, more Dr. Spoons. So, what do we have? Oh, classic OG silver minnow. Look at that color. The old blue, silver, and yeller. Ooh, silver minnow in a red with a white stripe. Silver minnow with the yellow with the diamonds. And then, of course, the classic. Awesome. We've got some bigger Manns, Little Georges up here. I'll zoom in so you can see them. Actually, Mann lures, jigging spoons, 429. Oh, I knew I saw something my first pass. So what is this? The Winger 2-blade spinner from Mann's. So it's a spinner that's got these 2 blades on it. I've never fished with one of these. Don't know a ton about it. Let me know if you guys have. But that's for $3.39, and they've got a few wingers on the peg right there. So anything Mann's you just can't find. But that's a cool one because that's one I don't recall seeing a whole lot back in the day. Moving on down, ton of blue fox, ton of rooster tail, and getting into some Mepps. What's cool about the Mepps is they've actually got some Mepps that also are discontinued. So this is the old Elix single spinner. Sort of looks like a, I don't know, it looks like a Panther Martin a little bit, doesn't it? That's interesting. So they've got that one in a couple of different colors. But that's an interesting deal there. If I can get it in focus, sorry. So those are all some old school Mepps. There's one in a nice copper with flow orange for $3.59. So I might pick up a few of these. I've been throwing some more spinners these days. This is one I don't have in my collection at the moment. So we're not gonna have time to get into this today, but I do wanna show you the insane amount of soft plastics. KVDs, all the way back to Jean LaRue's, culprits. We've got power baits and enough zoom to sink my boat. So that is just an insane amount of different plastics, mostly new school, but just if you wanted to come and check that out, definitely worth a look. All right, they do have some hats for $9.99 each. I wasn't gonna look too hard, but then I saw this. OG Team Daiwa hat. Yeah, that's come for $10. That's come with me for sure. But pretty cool selection of different hats. I do see a Stren up there, a Rapala, and some others as well. But yeah, that one was totally calling my name. All right, I mentioned the nooks and crannies. We're back in the walleye section now. I do see some nice Cordell Rippling red fins for $5.99. But back here, I see some older stuff. I see some Rebels here. 40th anniversary Rebel Minnow. $9.99 for that guy. There's the bigger version. That's actually a pretty wild looking bait. I might grab one of these just to show the Pradgo guys to figure out about this color, but that's a pretty cool looking color there. And that is the, I think that's the 3.5-inch model. Ooh, that's the one I want right there. All right, I see some new school Cotton Cordell Walleye divers, but I love the old packaging. I don't know why. There was just something so sort of cartoonish about the old school packaging there. That Walleye logo, I love that. So there's the old Walleye diver for $6.99. A couple different colors. But yeah, I almost wish I had that in a sticker. Very retro BASSIN themed. What else do we have back in this little corner? Oh, well, speaking of OG bomber packaging, look at that. Some nice OG long A's. So there's one in a nice chartreuse pattern. I've got sort of a variety of different ones, but all those are $4.79 for the old school bombers. And then every once in a while, there's just something random like this guy. This old, what is this thing? The old back walker. Huh. So, or rock walker, I'm sorry. Little crankbait there. We've got some Cordells here. So what do we have? The old CC shad. And then we've got this guy. Oh, the shad R. And the shad R for $4.69. Mostly in this white and chartreuse. There's a chartreuse with a red head. pretty good bit of those in there, and there's a blue one. And of course we got some red fins, kind of everything's just kind of tucked in here, but just a bunch of old school baits. Oh, I see old bomber mullet right there. Old bomber long A in the old Fire Tiger bass pattern. Just a bunch of stuff crammed in here. You just never know what you're gonna see. All right, Michelle, what do we have?
Box full of bomber 8As. Straight
Oh
rays.
my goodness. So yeah, that's the bigger model. And all these are still for $4.59. That's crazy. Oh, and you got. So did you guys like buy bomber out back in the day?
No. We used to order a ton every year. We'd sell them. And then they kind of fell off. So we just start throwing them in boxes.
Yeah, so I don't even know what sizes they still make, but I do like.
That's size
Up
8.
to 6A.
So they don't even make the 7A,
They
huh?
don't make, those are 8s.
That was
The
8
eights?
days.
That's what I said. They make up to a 6A.
Yeah, that's 8 days.
They make 7As
We had
or
a bunch
8As.
of them as special order years ago. You used to be able to make,
Like
you
that.
used to get like 600,
That
Really?
fish pattern.
but you had to buy
yeah.
the same color, same size, 600 lures.
600 of them.
So from there they went to
No wonder you guys still have lures on the shelf.
Which
15,
these
15.
were a special color, that fishbone color.
that
Yep.
And that
and the
size.
chartreuse.
Oh yeah, that's a good looking chartreuse too. And I like this. I like that one. That's really funky. That silver and like the foil on the
Yeah,
inside.
kind of like a crystal minnow color.
Yeah.
But I'm still partial to the OG old Fire Tiger. But you could probably catch a largemouth on that, like a big one.
Sure. Probably not in Illinois, but yes. In Texas, probably.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's it. So, okay, so that'll be hidden when folks come. So that'll be somewhere underneath there. You know it's a bad sign when you leave a tackle shop with a Zoom box full of lures. I definitely put a hurtin' on Mike's tackle roll today, but rest assured I left plenty on the peg for you guys. I talked to Michelle and she said she absolutely can ship, so I'll drop her contact information down below, but feel free to reach out and let her know of any old school gold that you would like to pick up from Mike's Tackle World. This is a little bit of a bittersweet moment for me. I'm super glad that I was able to check Mike's Tackle World off my bucket list after like 5 years of trying to get here. A little bit bittersweet because now I don't know what the next mountain to climb is. If you guys have any suggestions of other local tackle shops that I should check out, definitely let me know down in the video comments. It's unfortunate, but there are not enough places in the world like Mike's Tackle World.
You have to be dedicated to it. You have to appreciate your customers you have. And to this point, the customers I have, they're almost like a big family. I have the same older customers coming in, their kids, their grandkids, generation after generation, and I wouldn't trade that for nothing. And I'm here 7 days a week, too. You have to be dedicated to them. You can't just open it up and say, well, I'm going to open today, I'm going to close it tomorrow. You can't do that. You got to show up. As long as I'm here, I'll be working as long as I can, and when I'm gone, my 2 children are going to take over, Michael and Michelle. So I hope it still be here. I just hope my customers continue to support them, because they've been good kids.
Fishing it old school, this old stuff rules. Welcome to